Jai Hind and very good morning to all of you. Nice to see youngsters always. Yeah, because Dr. Kalam, this auditorium is also named as Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam's auditorium. He always used to tell us, start the day with the future of the nation. So again, it's a wonderful opportunity for me to start this day again with great thinkers and also a lot of people who want to become leaders in the society and who are thinking about the nation and who want to boot themselves. It's like you keep booting the computer. So like we also need to boot ourselves. So this is the boot camp which has been organized by my dear friend Mr. Manoj and his team. And also I'm told that other people also, Swatantra and Council for Transforming India, 100 Smiles Foundation, VNR Vignan Jyoti institutions, and we also contributing a bit to the success of this thing as part of the Join for Development Foundation. Because I was reading a book yesterday, because the moment they said it's a boot camp, I started picking up some books from my library and started. And a book by Nandan Nilekani, it is Rebooting India. There is a good book that is Rebooting India by Nandan Nilekani, in which he says, India is sitting on a demographic dividend and is expected to become the world's youngest country by 2020, with 64% of its population, roughly 800 million people of working age. That is 800 million knocks on the ceiling with a list of demands that include education, employment, good health, better infrastructure, efficient governance, and a corruption-free society. So these are the demands of the younger generations, and now how the country is going to gear up to give these youngsters their desires or their dreams. So as a part of it, the topic given to me is this: why independent constitutional institutions are so valid or vital for governance and development. That is the thing. So in this I want to dwell upon some of the independent institutions what we have. If we don't have, what is going to happen? If they are there, what are the expectations from the youngsters? This is going to be my this thing. Because we always know power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So that is the problem. Why do you need institutions? Because if you see the yesteryears, wherein there were many countries ruled by monarchs, and they used to rule the country as per their whims and fancies. So that's why this famous quotation has come. Power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. In a country like India, we have adopted the democracy, wherein the people are the rulers and the democracies are set up by the people, of the people, and for the people. In such a situation, do we need any independent institution to see that the ethos of democracy, the principles of democracy are restored or retained or they are continued? So that's why for a democracy, the independent institutions are very, very important. Because in a democracy, if you see, the basic institutions are the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. If all these three are kept in their place, or they are independent, or they are supposed to deliver what is expected from them, then only the democracy is going to survive. So in order to keep the legislature, in order to keep the executive under checks and balances, we need some institutions, and those institutions we will be covering in this particular topic. Executive organ of the state should at critical points be controlled by independent officers so as to prevent it from being all powerful. That is what, because if you see Pakistan, suddenly most of the time the country is ruled by the army. But in our country, we never had such situations. That is because of the existence of the independent institutions, and these institutions exercising their powers or the authority to the best of their ability. Now, the book, if you read Plato's The Republic, he says, democracy is a charming form of government full of variety and disorder, and dispensing a sort of equality to equals and unequals alike. So we need to see that the governments which are established are serving the people to the best of their ability, and also the various systems or the various promises being made are actually delivered. There is another book by Aristotle called Politics. This is also an interesting book, and all you people should read. It says democracy is when the indigent and not the men of property are the rulers. So we have adopted such type of system, that is the democracy, wherein not the rich people but the people are the rulers. Now, again there is a Gerald Ford, he says, our greatest republic is a government of laws and not of men. Here the people rule. Now with this background and with this benchmark that people are the rulers of this nation, let us start this session and also the importance. Now let us come to the Constitution of India, because we have all, the country got the Constitution of India, and we said the country is a republic, and from 26 January 1950 we are having a constitution which in the preamble it assures so many things. It says we are the sovereign socialist secular democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, liberty, equality and fraternity. So this is the benchmark of any institution, whatever I do, because when I was serving in the organization or when I was serving as a police officer, my job is to see that the preamble of the constitution is actually followed. So I need to give justice, I need to treat people with the liberty, I mean I should allow the people the liberty of thought and expression, and I can't suppress them because I have some authority, and I have to treat people equally, and there need to be a fraternity. So if this is so, then another important issue what we need to dwell upon is the good governance, because we all people want good governance. So what is good governance? If you see the basics of good governance, that is rule of law, accountability, transparency, participation, inclusiveness and right to dissent and people's control. So these are the 5 important things, elements of good governance. So we have a constitution with a preamble, and our demand is to have a good governance. So how to ensure these principles of good governance, and what are the various institutions or the independent institutions what we have to ensure the independence? The first one is the Supreme Court of India. If you see Article 124, you have the institution called the Supreme Court of India, and it is supposed to control, or it is supposed to control the legislature and the executive. That is very, very important aspect of Supreme Court, because if the Prime Minister, he says he has so much of power and authority, he can't do whatever he wants. He is supposed to discharge his duties within the framework of the Constitution and within the framework of the law. Imagine the case of 1975. In 1975, emergency was imposed in our nation. So under 42nd Amendment Act, if you see, lot of things have been changed in the Constitution. The review power of the Supreme Court and the High Courts have been curtailed. And also lot of things have been introduced in the 42nd Amendment, because the revisional powers or the power of the Supreme Court has been curtailed. So that time the Allahabad High Court had given a case that the Prime Minister has to step down. Then in 42nd Amendment they have brought such a change that the courts do not have any authority to question the election of a Prime Minister. So this type of draconian changes have been brought under the 42nd Amendment. So that means the legislature was going beyond its limit, because the Constitution has given certain guidelines to the legislature in what way they have to do. No doubt the legislature has an authority to amend the Constitution, but the amendment of the Constitution should not disturb the basic structure of the Constitution and basic framework of the Constitution, and it can't affect the preamble of the Constitution also. So then the Supreme Court came in. Supreme Court came in. There are many such instances wherein the Supreme Court has stepped in and said this is not as per the Constitution, it is unconstitutional. For example, if you see section 66 of the Information Technology Act, there were 2 girls who were passing some information about Mumbai, because when Mr. Bal Thackeray has expired, there was total commotion in Mumbai city. So these two girls were traveling from a place called Nala Sopara to Mumbai, wherein they could not travel and they could not reach. So they had sent a message on their emails saying that because of such people, so many people are suffering. Then somebody saw that and they made a complaint to the police. The police registered a case under section 66 of the Information Technology Act and they were arrested. There was a big furor in the country and the matter had gone up to the Supreme Court. Whether expressing my ideas or my views through my cell phone or through my email, is it against the Article 19 of the Constitution, that is freedom of expression? Then the Supreme Court said the section 66 of the Information Technology Act, it violates the Article 19 and so it has been struck down. So this is the independence of the Supreme Court. That means the legislature had made this act with 66, but during the implementation of it, somebody got affected and they approached the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court said it is unconstitutional. So this section has been removed. So that is the independence of the Supreme Court, what we are required to have. If you don't have such institutions, then you can't enjoy the benefits of democracy and you can't enjoy the rights which are given to you under the Constitution of India. So the first and foremost institution which is there in the country is the Supreme Court of India. Again, the legislature wanted to interfere in the working of the Supreme Court. So by an amendment in the Constitution, they have brought out this National Judicial Appointments Commission, NJAC. They thought government should appoint the judges and not the collegium. You should know how the Supreme Court judges and High Court judges are appointed. There is a collegium in the Supreme Court consisting of about, I think, 10 or 11 judges, and they get the reports of various judges working in the High Courts and other courts, and the collegium recommends the names of the judges to be appointed to the Supreme Court and the High Courts. Now, the government thought it is not in our control. It is not in our control. So, let us amend the Constitution and let us bring in a National Judicial Appointments Commission to appoint the judges. So then the matter had gone to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said the presence of law minister would compromise on the independence of the body to select judges. So they struck it off. So section Article 124A, which has been introduced for the constitution of a National Judicial Appointments Commission, has been struck down by the Supreme Court, because if the independence of the judiciary or the independence of the Supreme Court is compromised, then the legislature is going to control and legislature is going to have the orders as per their whims and fancies, or they can bring in people of their choice to the judiciary. So maintaining the independence of the judiciary is very, very important in a democracy. So that's why the role of Supreme Court and the role of High Court is very important. So keep visiting High Courts or Supreme Courts whenever there is a possibility, or maintain the arguments that are being extended in the Supreme Court on various cases. Maybe the CAA is going to come up now in the Supreme Court. There are a lot of cases which have been filed by different people in the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court is going to listen to all those things and they are going to give a judgment on CAA. So as youngsters of this country, you need to follow these things. If you want to be leaders in the society, you need to know what is happening in the society. What is happening to various things that are in the country. Maybe why these agitations are going on. What is Shaheen Bagh? Why so many people are agitating? What are their apprehensions? Whereas the government is clearly telling that NRC is not going to be implemented throughout the nation. NPR is part of an exercise. The census is going to start somewhere from March and April. So the NPR forms have been issued, wherein they are not going to ask you about your parents' place of residence or the place of birth. When so many things are being clarified, why so many agitations are taking place in the country, that needs the attention of the youngsters. Don't go by whatever somebody says. Have your independent opinion. Having independent opinion is the quality of the leader. Leader will not go with the opinion of some people. Leader is one who is going to have his own opinion based on the opinions or based on his knowledge and also based on the various inferences he can draw from various arguments. But unfortunately what is happening is you are not getting time to think independently, because this social media is influencing you so much that you are losing the quality of taking independent decisions. You are being forced to take a particular decision because of some decision makers, because of various considerations. That fellow belongs to my caste, that fellow belongs to my religion, so I have to follow him. This is the type of feeling even educated youngsters are having. That is the thing which need to be broken by the youngsters if you want to be a leader. So don't get carried away because he is your favorite person or he is the person whom you like. No. Get into the things. Get into the brass tacks and find out what is the truth and form your own opinion. Express your opinion. Get replies from them. Satisfy yourself. Then you influence the society. That is what is required from this leadership boot camp. It is not just 3 days of sessions, sitting comfortably in this thing and having good facilities. Once you go out of this boot camp, you are supposed to influence the society or the people with whom you are interacting or the society in which you are living. Once that can be achieved, then the purpose of the boot camp is achieved. So, as I said, Supreme Court has struck down many amendments and acts, and finally you need to have some of the case laws or some of the decisions of the Supreme Court wherein they have questioned or they have protected the Constitution or the basic frame of the Constitution or the preamble of the Constitution. Nothing is happening. Mr. Balchandran is leaving. My dear student, he is leaving. He is just leaving. So you are concentrating on that. You have come to the boot camp. You have come to the boot camp and you are supposed to lecture here. So, the Golaknath case, the Keshavananda Bharati case, Minerva Mills case, Nota judgment. Again you go through the Nota judgment. Because many people were giving an impression that we don't have a candidate of our choice, so we are not voting. So then they said, introduce a button called Nota in the EVMs. Even if you don't like any one of them, put your vote on that. That means making the people to go and vote is very, very important in a democratic system. So the Nota judgment, the Nirbhaya case judgment, of course, triple talaq, right to privacy. So all these things are important judgments which is maintaining the independence of the judiciary and the importance of Supreme Court in our democratic setup so that it leads to social development and also the societal growth. So this is the first institution in the Constitution we have wherein the very purpose of having a Supreme Court and that too an independent Supreme Court is very, very important in an organization. Second thing is the Election Commission of India. This is also a very important institution because you have legislature, you have executive and you have judiciary in the Constitution. These are the three important wings. So, if you want to have a good legislature, you need to have a election commission which is independent. An independent election commission is very, very important for a democracy to survive. But we never knew what election commission was earlier. The one man who brought election commission to the fame and also to take some tough decision is Mr. T.N. Seshan. So till that time, only for UPSC objective type questions, we used to follow who is the chief election commissioner of India. I think Ms. V. Ramadevi used to be the chief election commission when we were preparing for the civil services. So, but this one man, he came and he changed the entire system. And people started believing in the electoral process. He told people what is election commission, how elections are held, how the model code of conduct is imposed. Earlier, people used to do whatever they used to want. They used to spend how much of money they want, they used to spend. But he brought some semblance of electoral process, Mr. T.N. Seshan. So, then what happened? Seeing him very, very powerful, they introduced 2 more election commissioners into it. They made a multi-member body. Now they have 1 chief election commissioner and 2 election commissioners. So, now what happened? There are 2 instances which you should know that has led to the removal of election commissioners also. There were 2 instances in which it happened. I think somewhere, I think it was in 89 or so, something happened. And also another election commissioner was also removed. I think Mr. Chawla was removed or something like that. So, now, what is the purpose of having an independent election commission? This, as youngsters, you all should know. Now, despite these efforts, the total amount that has been spent in the year 2019 elections are 60,000 crores. 60,000 crores has been spent. But if you see what is the total amount that can be spent on elections, if you consider, if somebody can contest as an MP, the upper limit of expenditure for him is 70 lakhs. If somebody wants to contest as MLA, the upper limit for him to spend is 28 lakhs. There are 543 constituencies, roughly comes to about 380 crores. There are 4,121 MLA constituencies. So, the amount that can be spent, the 4,121 are the people who have contested, and it comes to about 1,200 crores or something like that. So, total amount that can be spent is about 1,500 crores. But 60,000 crores is being spent now. So, where from this money is coming? How this needs to be controlled? And if you see, the number of criminals entering into parliament is also increasing. Year by year it is increasing. So, despite the efforts by the election commission, how this is happening, that needs to be thought over. We need to come out with some solutions. How the criminals are entering into the parliament, and how so much of money is being spent during the elections. So, these are the 2 things which youngsters need to ponder upon. And maybe during your informal discussions, you may come up with some solutions. What solutions we can have to see that there are so many things which have been thought about. The first one is state funding of elections. There was one thought that has come, why don't state fund the elections? That means if I am contesting as MP, I will tell this is my expenditure and the state is going to reimburse me. So that means all the expenditure the state is going to reimburse. Okay, that is good. But how are you going to stop this black money in the market? That is another big challenge for us. Because I contested the elections, I know what is the scenario. I spent 38 lakhs as an MP candidate in Visakhapatnam. But the total amount spent by the other candidates, informal sources said it is about 200 crores. So, in the process, if you want good people, or if you want somebody to come into join the election fray, and if you want people to be elected, how to control this money power? That is another big thing. So, if that is controlled, and if criminals are prevented from entering, then the independence of election commission will further go up in the minds of the people. So, the second foremost institution, or the second important institution wherein the independence is required, is the Election Commission of India. Then the third institution what we have is the Comptroller and Auditor General of India. This is CAG. This is another institution in the as per the constitution, which is going to have an independently, it is going to assess and it is going to see how the public money is being spent by various departments. They are supposed to come out with various reports, and these reports are submitted to the Public Accounts Committee and other committees, Committee on Public Undertakings, and these are supposed to be discussed in the Parliament, and if there are any violations, suitable action needs to be taken. So that's why the working of CAG is also very, very important. there are many scams which have been brought out by the CAG. So the first one is the 2G scam, the second one is the coal scam. All these things are brought out by the auditing of the CAG. So the CAG reports are available on the net. So you also just go through them. Because if you go to the CAG website, you get the various reports. They audit the central government accounts as well as the state government accounts also. So wherein lot of irregularities that have been found are listed. So suppose if this institution doesn't work independently, what is going to happen? You have to think. So that means people are allowed, or people can do whatever they want and they will go scot-free. So this is another institution where the taxpayers' money or the budget amount should be spent on the schemes, or it should be spent without any corruption or without any inflation or without any overbilling. All these things are taken into consideration and they come out with the CAG reports. So all these institutions are very, very important. Suppose Supreme Court, Election Commission, third one is the CAG, then the fourth one is the Union Public Service Commission or the State Public Service Commissions. So that means legislature, if you want to have a quality legislature, you need to have an independent election commission to ensure that good members or people are selected. The second one is the executive. If you want to have good executive, if you want to have good civil servants, you need to have an independent public service commission for their selection. Suppose left to that, people are going to select their own kith and kin on various considerations. So the independence of Union Public Service Commission is also very, very important. Most of you must be aspiring to become civil servants. So why? Because you believe in the process of selection by the Union Public Service Commission. Still the sanctity is maintained by the UPSC. That's why you have faith in the system. Suppose if the youngsters do not have faith in the UPSC, they start suspecting each and every selection also. And they will not be aspiring to become civil servants. But still many people are aspiring to become civil servants. Talks about the independence of this particular institution. Suppose if this institution gets corrupted, so what type of civil servants are going to come? Right from the beginning, they will be picked up on some other considerations. Suppose say somebody in the UPSC is corrupt, so you can pay him and you can get selected. That means you have paid so much of money, the day you enter into the service, you start collecting that money. That type of this thing will be there. That's why the procedure that is followed by the UPSC is also need to be known. The written examinations are held in a very confidential manner, and the interviews also. Till you go to the UPSC on that day, you don't know you are going to which board. And the secrecy is maintained, and in front of everybody the lots are taken. You go and pick up your lot, and it says you go to board number 4, board number 5, like that. So all these measures are being followed to ensure that in the executive you have people with integrity and people with commitment. So even in this examination system also, a lot of changes are being brought about. So now you have only one optional. Now it is being thought about that one optional also should be removed, and everybody should be brought onto a level playing field. There was an idea that engineer should be removed. Engineer should not be allowed to write civil services. There was a move like that, because a lot of engineers started getting into civil services. So there was a move that engineering subject should be taken out. But when they saw the statistics, the number of engineers who are writing engineering subjects are very less. Many engineers, they write history, they write sociology, they write political science, they write geography, they write anthropology, and they are getting in. So removal of engineering subjects is not going to solve the issue, and that also will affect somebody will go to the Supreme Court, because you are being discriminated. Just because I am an engineer, how can I be not eligible to become a civil servant? So that type of complications came, so that idea has been dropped. Now all the railway examination have been taken out from the civil services. the Indian Railway Traffic Service, Indian Railway Account Service, Indian Railway Public Personnel Service, then RPF, all these engineering examinations, all these examinations are taken out, and the UPSC is going to conduct a separate examination for the railways, Indian Railways. So a lot of changes are being brought about, but the important thing is that Union Public Service Commission should be independent. It should not be influenced. If the Election Commission becomes corrupt, legislature is going to become corrupt. If Union Public Service Commission is not going to be independent and corrupt, the executive is going to affect, in the process the democracy is going to suffer. So these are the institutions which are very, very important in a democracy. The next one is the administrative tribunals. This is also another institution as per the constitution, article 323A and 323B. These are the two, this is the administrative tribunals. Suppose a government doesn't like a civil servant, he being upright. So they will suspend him and they will make him suffer. So a civil servant who is working to his level best, just because the government is not liking him, he should not be subjected to any type of harassment. So all the service matters and all the selection matters are referred to these administrative tribunals. So the independent institutions like administrative tribunals are also very important. They are called central administrative tribunals. You have the CAT and you have the state administrative tribunals. So whenever there is a dispute about your service matters, earlier people used to go directly to the high courts. Now you have this facility wherein if you feel that you are being discriminated against or you are being harassed as a public servant, you can go as far as the service matters are concerned to the administrative tribunals and you can get the justice. Because in the cadres also, I mean recently, because I had gone through with my son's cadre allocation. So the cadre allocation was not done properly by the Department of Personnel and Training. That is what has been seen. So the candidates, they need to have some avenue to represent. So the avenue is Central Administrative Tribunal. So they have gone to the Central Administrative Tribunal. The Central Administrative Tribunal has given an order. Then on appeal you can go to the High Court and finally to the Supreme Court. So at each level of selection and at each level, the citizen is ensured that there are institutions, you need not have to worry. These independent institutions are going to ensure that whatever is written in the Constitution, whatever fundamental rights have been given to you and whatever the preamble of the Constitution has said, there are independent institutions which are going to help you and which are going to give you all the support and you need not worry. So this type of assurance is required in a country. Otherwise, where can a citizen can go for justice? Suppose if these institutions are not independent, then the citizen will have a problem. The another institution which is there in the, as per the Constitution is the Finance Commission. Finance Commission is another independent institution as per Article 280. It decides about the distribution of wealth or the taxes between the center and the state. For example, the 14th Finance Commission, now it is the 15th Finance Commission which has come into being. This 15th Finance Commission will make a study and will decide how the taxes from the center are distributed to the states. Earlier 14th Finance Commission said 41% of the total taxes have to be given to the states. And now 15th Commission has come up with some other parameters, wherein there is an article recently. Can anybody recollect? What is the article about 15th Finance? Can you have some water? Yeah. 15th Finance Commission. Anything you have seen in the newspaper? 15th Finance Commission, there is something, they say the southern states are being discriminated. Thank you. Southern states are being discriminated. There is an article which has come in the newspaper. Yeah. The main thing what they are talking about is that the allocations are going to be as per the population. So the southern states are saying that we have followed the family planning system so well, so now it is going to be go against us because we will be getting less funds. So that means the states which have not followed the family planning policy, they are going to get more allocations. So this is going to be a incentive for us. So this needs to be clarified. That's what it has appeared recently. An article appeared. So as youngsters, you should know how this finance commission works, how the taxes are divided between the center and the state, and how this distribution takes place. All these things are also needed, because when you go and talk in a society, you should make sense, and also you should tell people how the constitution works and how the finance commission has decided, how it is going to affect the southern states, and what remedial measures have to be taken. So there is another thing, because most of you people are from Andhra Pradesh. There is another concept called profit petroleum. The 14th Finance Commission has said, suppose if in a particular state you have the oil rigs or the oil exploration takes place, the petrol and diesel and other petroleum explorations, they say the state to which these particular wells belong, the state should get some contribution, or the state should get some money. Now if you see, Reliance is taking our gas, natural gas from the Rajahmundry and other Godavari Krishna basin. So now the argument is that they have to pay money as profit petroleum to state of Andhra Pradesh. The 14th Finance Commission says that it is almost about 1 lakh crores which the state of Andhra Pradesh should get. So that is not being given. This is another issue which needs to be taken up. So as leaders, you need to know what is the financial contributions from the center which we are not getting, and which is our this thing. I mean, how much we need to get and what we are getting, whether we are being discriminated. All these things need to be discussed. So maybe after the session, maybe in the evening, your small groups, you go through the 14th Finance Commission recommendations, you go through the 15th Finance Commission recommendations, and find out where we are lacking and where we need to fight, or what needs to be brought before the government, or you can tell your MLAs and MPs also about it. I mean, that is also your job, because there are a lot of MPs and MLAs who want to ask some questions in the assembly and the parliament. Maybe you can take that opportunity. You can go and meet your MP, local MP, and after studying all these things, 14th and 15th Finance Commission, prepare a questionnaire. Prepare a question, sir. As per the 14th Finance Commission, this profit petroleum provision is there, but they are not giving us. Suppose if we can raise this question in the parliament, then there is a chance that we can get more money for the state. So that is the leadership which is required. The boot camp is basically for that purpose. So that means you become leaders, and in fact you go and meet your leaders, elected leaders, and tell them, so that the issue can be raised in the assembly and also in the parliament. Something will happen to the state. The next commissions which are there are the SC, ST and BC commissions. These are also as per the constitution. Article 338, 38A and 38B. So this is basically to safeguard the rights and interests of these categories of people, because these are the people who are deprived, who have been suffering from ages. So their interests have to be protected. So the constitution has ensured that there is a national SC commission, there is a national ST commission, and there is a national BC commission. So these are another institutions what we have. Next thing is the Lokpal. Lokpal is not as per the constitution, but it is as per the Lokpal Act. You all remember the agitation by Anna Hazare ji? Yeah, they wanted this Jan Lokpal. Then there were a lot of discussions, and finally the Lokpal has been appointed. Justice Pinaki Chandra Ghosh, who was the High Court Chief Justice of Andhra Pradesh also, now he is the Lokpal. There are 8 members, 4 judicial members and 4 administrative members. So they are supposed to deal with a lot of corruption issues pertaining to the office of the Prime Minister, ministers, MPs and other central government employees. The Lokpal will take care, whereas Lokayuktas are going to take that role in the states. So as young leaders, you should know the role of Lokpal, and also you should know the role of a Lokayukta, because somebody in your village will come and ask you, so this is being done to us. This is the injustice being meted out to us. So as a leader, you should be able to suggest them what they should do. I mean, there is anti-corruption bureaus, there is vigilance commissioners here, and there is a Lokayukta here, there is Lokpal there. So based on the jurisdiction of these people, as youngsters, you should recommend these people, and you should be able to write a complaint, or you should be able to write a representation. So this is the issue, and this is being done as per the Lokpal Act or the Lokayukta Act. This particular section deals with this. So please kindly consider and do justice. So that is your role in the society. Your society is criticism, at the same time giving suggestions to the people and getting their problems redressed. This is also very, very important. Then, which are the other institutions which are protecting the rights of the citizens? If you see the Central Vigilance Commission, CVC. CVC is basically deals with the corruption in the offices of the central government. Then the Central Bureau of Investigation, CBI. Next is Central Information Commission, CIC. Recently you have read it in the paper, information commissioners have been appointed for state of Telangana. 5 or 6 of them have been appointed. So as a leader in the society, you should know what is the role of an information commissioner, what is a public information officer, who is the appellate authority. If suppose you have found out that something has gone wrong in a particular office, how to get that information you should know. How to make an application to the public information officer under the Right to Information Acts, RTI. Suppose if that officer doesn't give the information to you, how to go in appeal. If that office also doesn't give you the information, how to go to the information commissioner and get the format. Because this RTI Act has been brought into our country after a lot of struggle. So you should understand the struggle by many people, including Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, Dr. Jayaprakash Narayan Garu. All these people have struggled to get this Right to Information Act. So once the act has come, young leaders like you should guide the society how to get information, required information, and how to fight for the cause of the people. That is very, very important. Then of course Competition Commissions of India to avoid competitions and all. So what I covered so far is, for a democracy to survive, and as you know that absolute power is going to corrupt absolutely, we need to have independent institutions to ensure that whatever is enshrined in the Constitution and whatever is assured in the Constitution finally goes to the citizens. So you have the Supreme Court, you have the Election Commission, and you have the Union Public Service Commission, and you have various tribunals, you have the Comptroller and Auditor General, and you have the SC, ST and BC commissions, and you have other commissions like the Central Vigilance Commission, Central Bureau of Investigation, then you have the Central Information Commissioners and Competitions Commission. There are so many other commissions also. Official Language Commission is also there to see that the language is properly utilized. So there are various things which are available. Only thing is, majority of us, we do not know, or we just study it as a subject and leave it. But Constitution is very, very important. That's why I have made a recommendation that each class you need to have a subject on Constitution. Maybe an engineering college, maybe a management class, maybe a medical course. Every year you should have a subject called Constitution. Because for employment you go with a CV. But Constitution is CV of the nation. So that CV everybody should know. You should know the ins and outs of Constitution, and also you should know the various institutions that are existing in the Constitution, and as a leader how to utilize these institutions to bring justice, equality, liberty and fraternity to the citizens of the nation. That is the target before all of us. So I hope this leadership boot camp is going to enlighten you on the importance of the Constitution and also the availability of the independent institutions and the relevance of the independent institutions and how best you can make use of these institutions. Suppose somebody says, sir, to go to a high court, you need a lot of money. If you want to argue out a case in Supreme Court, you need a lot of money. But that is ignorance. There is what is known as Legal Services Authority is available. District Legal Services Authority is available. So suppose if I can't have my own advocate, I can write to the District Legal Services Authority. The Legal Services Authority is going to allot you a judge free, an advocate free of cost. Both in High Court as well as Supreme Court also you can have a advocate without paying anything. And also there is another system called public interest litigation. There is another system called public interest litigation which has been brought out during Justice P.N. Bhagavati's time. Even a postcard, suppose if you write something on the postcard pertaining to a problem of the society, that they used to take it as a public interest litigation and they used to take it up. Even High Courts take up newspaper reports also as public interest litigations and they issue notices to the team. Recently High Court Telangana has issued notices to the GHMC after seeing the newspaper reports because of the potholes on the roads. So they issued they have taken it as a public interest litigation and they have issued notices. So all these mechanisms are existing. As a leader you need to know, and as a leader you need to guide the people how to utilize these institutions for the betterment of the democracy.
I don't know how much this is related, sir, but I'm
Yeah,
sure
please.
this will resonate.
Yeah.
So you said in between the lecture that we need to influence the people outside, not just 3 days here. So that's right. But let me take a topic, caste discrimination. And I believe change starts at home. Right. So, but we can't, I've been trying for years, but we can't even influence our parents against caste. So if I let them be and go on giving lectures outside, like this is what you should do, isn't that making me lose my authenticity? Like I'm not following what I'm telling. I can't even change it home. How am I supposed to change it outside? And at the same time, I can't sever my connection to them. So how should the youth of today tackle this dilemma? Or what are the ways to tackle the problem? And do we need a generation of leaders that severs its connection with the past completely? That's my question. Thank you.
Yeah, because as far the caste is concerned, it is becoming the main factor as we proceed, because I thought with education these things will vanish. But of late, as the education is increasing, these differences are also increasing. That is very, very unfortunate. Even educated people are fighting on these lines. There are in universities, there are people based on castes. There are fighting amongst them. Yeah, that's right, because we don't have other factors, we are not raising above that. That means as an individual you have to raise beyond that. I always said your religion should end in your puja room, your caste should stop at your doorstep. The moment you step out of the house, you are a citizen of this nation. Those type of feelings have to be inculcated in the people. So first thing is I need to change. So if you want to bring a change in the society, first change should come within me. Then only I can change. Because I can't give a justification that the whole world is like this, so I also want to be like that. That justification will not survive. Because of that justification only we are living in this type of society. So each individual has to think. So a member coming to a leadership boot camp, so he has to come out of all these things and he should be able to influence others with some material facts. With some material facts and with your understanding and with your learning. So these are very, very important things, and it takes lot of time, but an effort should be made. You have to continue your efforts. There are, I mean, it is not necessary that all people, I should agree with you. There is always a dissent. So you should not get discouraged because your efforts need to go continuously. Because during freedom struggle also, many people did not like the satyagraha or the peaceful way of agitating as introduced by Mahatma Gandhi. But he sustained. He sustained because he suspended his whole agitation because of the Chaura Chauri incident. He said, I am going for non-violence and there is a violent incident, so I will suspend it for some time. But he continued his efforts. It's a long drawn process because these are the things which have been imbibed and which have been there in the minds of the people for long time, and also it is continuing, where we need, or you come out with some solutions also. I mean, during the discussions also, lot of things will come out. Yeah. You have lot of time. You have lot of time. Many people, what we do is we give the justification that we don't have time. But if you see the screen, it says you are spending 8 hours of 9 minutes on social media. Every week the mobile gives you a signal. From last week, this week your screen time has increased by 20%. That means you have so much of time. So our justification is that we don't have time. For what purpose you are using the time, that is more important. So you have to have a calculation. You have to see, that's what leader or ladder or Mr. Balchandra was telling, no? So you need to have the timing and you need to have the scheduling, and you should spend the time for the purposes which are going to better the society, which are going to bring betterment in the society. Yeah, yes. Yeah.
So majority chooses on the basis of money or any other kind of freebies. And we talked about, you talked about how independent institutions held up this democracy, and we know how if these institutions won't work, we are seeing the examples. So yet after these institutions, we still have only 1% who is who's getting all the advantages of the democracy, which from 70 years that's what happened. 1% got the advantages. Why is this happening? Because we are still, RTI, as you said, was a people's agitation.
Yes.
We got it out. There are a lot of sections of society which are advocating for democracy, for the values it was brought out for. Why is it not working? And are there
Because, I mean, I
any
could get
things
it.
we can do
Because
about
we have different thought processes in the country. Maybe he must be a communist. He must have told you something about it. A capitalist or communist. You have so many ideas that are there in the country. But as an individual, you are supposed to know everything. As a leader, don't get carried away. Don't get carried away by certain opinions. So, as an individual, because you are educated, you have so many things in front of you. Study each one of them, and you formulate your own independent opinion. That's what I started my talk about. Nowadays we are not having our own independent opinions. We are getting swayed by the opinion of somebody else. So that's why there are a lot of people. There are Naxalites. There are Maoists who are there. They are fighting against the democracy, or they are fighting against the government. They also have their own way of thought process. Don't talk about he. Don't talk about he. You talk about you. Yeah, you got from him, yes.
That freebies were a part of what is happening. Freebies are the part of the inequality which is happening. So majority chooses not for the reason of what they want, but from what they get in the short term. So the basic
Because society is being driven because of this, because that's what I was listening to Jaggi Vasudevji. He says, suppose if you go to your locality and ask you, tell me about about somebody who is great here, the name that comes out first is the man who is having maximum property in that area, or who has a beautiful building, who has lot of money, who has large number of cars. So in the society, people with money are being recognized as an important people. So the importance being given to money is increasing in this society. So that's why somebody, the freebies, what you are calling, that is also empowering somebody. That means money is being given to him and he is feeling that he is becoming rich. So if you want to stop these freebies, the freebies need to be converted into services, like what is done in Delhi. They are not giving money 10,000 or 15,000 to the mothers, but they are improving the institutions. They are improving the hospitals. So the service has to improve. That should be the thing. So definitely freebies have to stop someday. There is no doubt about it. But why freebies are being given is because everybody wants to contest and win the elections. So freebies is the easiest way of luring people to cast their vote. So as young leaders, we are supposed to educate people what these freebies are ultimately going to do for the nation. So the concept of nation has to be introduced in the individuals. So the concept of nation and belonging to the nation needs to be introduced in each and everybody. Then they start thinking about why I need free, I don't want. So a stage should come, I don't want a freebie. You give a good governance. Yes. Yeah.
Sir, youth should enter into politics is what we are thinking.
Yes. You have
Sir,
to.
average Indian age is 29 and parliamentarian is 69.
Yes.
So if we think of politics and we are seeing and inspired by you, and when you see in politics, again we are disappointed. Like, see, if a person like you is not successful in politics, no, I'm not criticizing something.
Yeah, you
But-
do whatever you want, no problem.
But
Yeah.
when we take you as an inspiration, if you win, you do not win in election.
Is winning is inspiration or contesting an election is an inspiration for you?
Definitely contesting is an
That is the question
inspiration.
I want to ask.
But you can do a lot more after winning, no, sir.
I am confident that I will win one day. I will keep contesting.
Sir,
I will keep contesting, there is no doubt, because I am not spending money.
yeah.
So I am not spending money, that's why it is not going to cost me much. So I can keep on. There is one person by name Bhim Singh in Jammu and Kashmir. He contests each and every election. But we need to fight if you want to bring a change in the society. And also don't expect that overnight you can be
can't happen
winning. You
overnight.
can be winning also,
Sir,
because there are so many things that are playing on the minds of the people, like the caste, money, religion. All these things are playing. Against this, you have to come out and give what you are. So it will take some time for the people to understand who you are and what type of services you are offering them. So maybe in the next session we'll have people who have actually won or who have contested also. So they can tell you how they won the election. Ask them those questions.
sir,
Point blank, you ask them how they won, how much money they distributed.
sir,
Yeah.
you are in government.
Let them
for
come out
30 years.
and ask them whether they are ready for a narco test.
You are in
Ask them.
30
Yeah.
years. Will people change, sir? Like,
Yeah.
will people change this literacy with this mindset? Can Indian vote for a change or what?
Change. You have seen change in many places. You have seen change in many places. Delhi is an example.
Sir, if
Delhi
you
is
give
an
that hope,
example.
we will have hope in
Definitely.
politics.
Definitely.
Thank you, sir.
Definitely. Don't lose hope. Hope is something that drives you.
But financial status is not.
Financially, I said, don't give money. Don't give money. You be within the limits, and you, campaign your ideology. It will take time. A day will come where people will realize.
Thank you, sir. We hope you should win and give more
Definitely,
inspiration.
we will all win. Yeah,
Good morning, sir.
yeah.
ఐఎమ్ రవి ఫ్రమ్ ఖమ్మం. సార్ ఇంతసేపు మనం ఈ స్వతంత్ర ప్రతిపత్తి కలిగిన సంస్థల గురించి
సంస్థల గురించి
మాట్లాడుకున్నాం.
మాట్లాడుకున్నాం. Yes.
సార్ దాంట్లో సుప్రీంకోర్టు కానివ్వండి, ఎలక్షన్ కమిషన్ కానివ్వండి, ఈ సిఏజీ కానివ్వండి,
Hmm.
ఇవి ఇన్ఫ్లుయెన్స్ చేయబడుతున్నాయి అనేది వాస్తవం సార్.
అంటే ఏంటంటే మనం కొన్ని ఇవి తీసుకొని మనం దాని గురించి మన అభిప్రాయాలను మనం ఫామ్ చేసుకుంటాం. కొన్ని ఇన్సిడెంట్స్ చూసుకొని, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఈవీఎంస్ అన్నీ ట్యాంపర్ చేశారని కొంతమంది మాట్లాడారు. ఓడిపోవడానికి జస్టిఫికేషన్ చేసుకోవడానికి చాలా ఈజియెస్ట్ వే ఆఫ్ సేయింగ్ దట్ ఈవీఎంస్ ఆర్ ట్యాంపర్డ్ విత్. దానికని మీరు ఏం చేయాలంటే యంగ్స్టర్స్ ఈవీఎం గురించి చదవాలి. ఈవీఎంలో ఎంత మెమరీ ఉంటుంది, క్యాలిక్యులేటర్లో ఎంత మెమరీ ఉంటుంది, సెల్ ఫోన్లో ఎంత మెమరీ ఉంటుంది, ఒక ఎలక్ట్రానిక్ గ్యాడ్జెట్లో లోపలికి వెళ్ళి దాన్ని ఇన్ఫ్లుయెన్స్ చేయడానికి మనకి ఎంత మెమరీ కావాలి, ఇవన్నీ తీసుకుంటే మీరు ఈవీఎం మెషిన్ మెమరీ ఈవెన్ క్యాలిక్యులేటర్ మెమరీ కన్నా తక్కువ ఉంటుంది. దాంట్లో ఒక ప్రోగ్రామ్ బయట నుంచి పంపించి అక్కడ కూర్చోబెట్టి ఆ సిస్టమ్ను మార్పించి ఆ చిప్ను చేంజ్ చేయడానికి దట్ మెమరీ ఈజ్ నాట్ సఫిషియెంట్. సో ఇవేమనుకుంటుంటామంటే చాలామంది ఓడిపోయిన వాళ్ళంతా ఇవే చెప్తుంటారు. ఈవీఎంలు వాళ్ళు ట్యాంపర్ చేశారు కాబట్టి మేము ఓడిపోయామంటారు. దట్ ఈస్ నాట్ కరెక్ట్.
సార్ సిఏజీ కూడా మనకి ప్రతి సంవత్సరం రిపోర్ట్ ఇస్తూ ఉంటుంది. కానీ ఈ స్టేట్ గవర్నమెంట్స్ కానీ సెంట్రల్ గవర్నమెంట్స్ కానీ వారి లెక్కలు వాళ్ళు చూపిస్తుంటారు. ఏమనంటే ఇది శ్వేతపత్రం అని వీళ్ళు అంటారు, కానీ సిఏజీ దాని రిపోర్ట్ అది ఇస్తే రెండు కంపేర్ అవ్వవు.
ఎందుకంటే మనము సిఏజీ రోల్ ఏంటని కనుక్కోవాలి. సిఏజీ రోల్ ఏంటంటే మన స్పెండింగ్ అంతా కూడా వాళ్ళ రిపోర్ట్స్ ద్వారా పబ్లిక్ అకౌంట్స్ కమిటీకి, కమిటీ ఆన్ పబ్లిక్ అండర్టేకింగ్స్కి ఇవ్వడం, తర్వాత దీన్ని పార్లమెంట్లో ఉంచడం. అందుకని ఇప్పుడు పార్లమెంట్లో సక్రమంగా ఉన్న వాళ్ళు కనుక అక్కడ కూర్చుంటే వీటిని సీరియస్గా తీసుకుంటారు. ఫైనల్గా ఏంటంటే సిఏజీ బాగా పనిచేసిన ఫైనల్గా పార్లమెంట్లో కూర్చున్న వాళ్ళు దాని గురించి పట్టించుకోకుంటే ఆ రిపోర్ట్స్ అలాగే ఉండిపోతాయి. కాబట్టి వీ నీడ్ టు సెండ్ గుడ్ పీపుల్ టు ది అసెంబ్లీస్ అండ్ ది పార్లమెంట్స్. దట్ ఈస్ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్.
సరే, డిస్ట్రిక్ట్ లీగల్ సర్వీస్ అథారిటీ దీని గురించి కాస్త చెప్పండి.
డిస్ట్రిక్ట్ లీగల్ మీరు నెట్లోకి వెళ్ళి చూడండి, దట్ ఈస్ అవైలబుల్. ఎవరికైనా అడ్వకేట్స్ కావాలంటే ఫ్రీ ఆఫ్ కాస్ట్ వాళ్ళు మనము పెట్టుకోవచ్చు అనమాట. వాళ్ళకి లెటర్ రాస్తే వాళ్ళు అలాట్ చేస్తారు. లీగల్ సర్వీస్ అథారిటీ ఇస్ దర్. ఎస్,
I am Anuradha from VNR Vijayati, sir.
Namaste.
Actually, amendments in the constitution,
Yeah.
like suppose let us take the example of Delhi government. Can't we take some kind of how the welfare measures for the people should be like ground root problems only should be addressed, like that the welfare measures amendments can't the constitution can take up and like that way where various states also can take the Delhi as the role model, that kind of like where need of amendment in the constitution can happen, sir.
Actually, one PAL has been filed in the Supreme Court saying that whatever is the manifestos the political parties announce, so there should be a control on that. So tomorrow maybe I may be contesting, I can say that I can give all of you one Fortuner vehicle. I can give a promise like that. It is not possible. So that's why people said there should be some mechanism to go through the manifestos and see whether implementation of this point in the manifesto, how it is going to affect the economy of the state and whether it is possible. Such type of institution or a commission should be there.
Yes.
But Supreme Court, what they did is they transferred it to the Election Commission, saying that because it is a matter pertaining to the elections, you go through. I think the Election Commission is very soon taking a meeting, I think this week only, of all the political parties to ensure that the manifestos what are given are in reality, and it should not favor somebody or it should not adversely affect the economy of the state. So such type of manifesto items only should be included.
Yes.
That is what a thought process is going on. Let us see what
Sir,
happens.
another thing, sir, another thing, sir.
We
Huh.
are
23% of the voting percent మీకు వచ్చింది.
Yes.
2,88,824 votes వచ్చాయి. అంటే మీకున్న ఓన్ క్రెడిబిలిటీ తోటి మీరు ఎలాంటి మనీ ఖర్చు చేయలేదు, నామినల్ మనీ ఖర్చు చేసి
38 lakhs are the accounts I submitted.
కంపేర్ టు అదర్ అపోజిషన్స్ కొన్ని కోట్లు ఖర్చు చేసి ఉంటారు.
వాళ్ళు కూడా అకౌంట్స్ కరెక్ట్ ఇవే సబ్మిట్ చేశారు కానీ వాళ్ళు ఎవరైనా వస్తే అడగండి మీరు ఎంత
రాబోయే
ఖర్చు చేశారు.
రోజుల్లో మేము ఎంపీలు ఎమ్మెల్యేగా కంటెస్ట్ చేస్తాము, కానీ ఫినాన్షియల్ బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్ మాకు ఉండదు. సో మా ఓన్ క్రెడిబిలిటీ ఏం కావాలి ఒకటి. రెండోది, మేము అప్రోచ్ అయ్యేటప్పుడు పబ్లిక్కి అప్పుడు వాళ్ళకి ఏం అండర్స్టాండ్ చేయాలి, మేమేం స్కిల్స్ నేర్చుకోవాలి ఒకటి. రెండోది ఏంటంటే సార్, అర్బన్ పాపులేషన్ రూరల్ పాపులేషన్ ఓటింగ్ తీసుకున్నప్పుడు ఎప్పుడైనా సరే హైదరాబాద్, రంగారెడ్డి ఇవన్నీ 50% ఓటింగే చేస్తారు కంపేర్ టు ఇప్పుడు ఇంకా జూబ్లీహిల్స్ అంటే అక్కడ దిక్కు కంపేర్ టు మన రూరల్ ఏరియాస్ లో
ఎక్కువ ఓటింగ్ ఉంటుంది, అర్బన్ లో తక్కువ ఉంటుంది.
ఈ ఓటింగ్ పర్సెంట్ పెంచడానికి చాలా మంది ఎన్జిఓస్, మీరు కూడా చాలా మంది లెట్స్ ఓట్ అనే క్యాంపెయిన్ చేస్తారు. కానీ ఎవరైతే నీతులు చెప్తారో, ఎవరైతే సిటీలలో కానీ వాళ్ళు ఓట్లు లేనికే నిలవడానికి చేత కాదు. జనరల్ నేను డైరెక్ట్ చెప్తాను.
అందుకనే నోటా కూడా పెట్టింది దానివల్లే. మీరు కానివ్వండి, మీరు పోండి పోలింగ్ బూత్కి, మీకు నచ్చకుంటే నోటా నొక్కండి అన్నారు. అందుకనే మేమేం సజెస్ట్ చేస్తున్నాం అంటే ఇప్పుడు కొత్త సజెషన్స్ మీరు చూస్తే ఎలక్షన్ కమిషన్ యూజింగ్ మొబైల్ ఫోన్ హౌ యూ కెన్ ఓట్ అన్నది, దట్ ఈస్ ద లేటెస్ట్ థింకింగ్ గోయింగ్ ఆన్. ఎలక్షన్ కమిషన్ యూజింగ్ టెక్నాలజీ మనం ఇంట్లోనే ఉండి ఎట్లా ఓటేయచ్చు అన్నది ఒకటి, ఇది కూడా జరుగుతున్నది ఇప్పుడు. ఫస్ట్ క్వశ్చన్ ఏంటంటే మనల్ని మనం ఎస్టాబ్లిష్ చేసుకోవాలా. ఇప్పుడు మెయిన్గా మీకు వచ్చిన మంచి అడ్వాంటేజ్ ఏంటంటే సోషల్ మీడియా. ఇంతకుముందు ఏంటంటే మీరు అన్లెస్ మీరు ఒక పర్టికులర్ స్టేజ్లో ఉంటే మీ గురించి ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ వినండి బాబు, నేను చెప్పేస్తాను, మీరు మాట్లాడుకున్న లేకపోతే నా ఆన్సర్ అయిపోద్ది. సో మీ గురించి తెలియాలంటే ఏంటంటే మిమ్మల్ని మీరు ఎస్టాబ్లిష్ చేసుకోవడం చాలా ఈజీ అయింది ఇప్పుడు ఉన్న కమ్యూనికేషన్ నెట్వర్క్. బికాజ్ విలేజ్లో పోయినా కూడా ప్రతి ఒక్కరి దగ్గర స్మార్ట్ ఫోన్ ఉన్నది, వాళ్ళు కూర్చొని యూట్యూబ్ చూస్తూ ఉంటారు. కాబట్టి ఇన్ కేస్ మీరు ఒక పాయింట్ తీసుకొని దాని మీద డిస్కషన్ పెట్టి మీ పాయింట్స్ని సక్రమంగా ప్రజల్లోకి తీసుకెళ్ళగలిగితే కొన్ని రోజుల్లో మీ వ్యూస్ పెరుగుతాయి. దాన్ని మీరు హౌ టు గెట్ ఫెమిలరైజ్డ్ ఇన్ యువర్ ప్లేస్ త్రూ సోషల్ మీడియా అండ్ యూ స్టార్ట్ వర్కింగ్ ఇన్ యువర్ కాన్స్టిట్యుయెన్సీ. ఒక ఏరియా ఎన్నుకొని బై ఆర్టీఐ కానీ బై అదర్ దీని గురించి కానీ అక్కడ జరుగుతున్న డెవలప్మెంట్ ప్రోగ్రామ్స్ కానీ వీటన్నింటినీ కూడా మీరు తీసుకొని ముందుకు తీసుకెళ్తే ఒక లీడర్గా మిమ్మల్ని గుర్తిస్తారనమాట. అప్పుడు మీరు ఎలక్షన్స్లో మీరు మాట్లాడితే మీ మాటకు ఒక విలువ ఉంటుంది.
The Q&A has ended.
అవును, బాగా అవుతుంది సిస్టమ్. ఆలోచించే వాళ్ళు పెరుగుతారు, యూత్ పెరుగుతుంది, 75% అవుతారు మీ టైంకి వచ్చినప్పుడు, కాబట్టి వాళ్ళని ఇన్ఫ్లుయెన్స్ చేయడం ఇంకా ఈజీ మీకు. యా రైట్.
The Q&A has
Yeah, well,
ended.
because the
So I will be available outside.
నేను
If you
బయట
have any
ఉంటాను
questions, you
15
can
minutes,
ask.
you can come and meet me. Thank you very much. Enjoy this leadership boot camp and keep thinking, and after these 3 days you should come out with a different person and you should be equipped with so much of knowledge
Please sit
and
down.
establish yourself as a leader. Thank you very much. All the best. Jai
I
Hind.
request Director of Dean and Advancement Chanakeshwar sir and Manoj from Youth Parliament to facilitate JD sir with a memento. Rohit from Youth Parliament is here to present a book. Sir.